Strange New Worlds finally explained why the Klingons trusted Spock in Star Trek VI. In Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country, one of the biggest turning points in the franchise's history unfolds, peace between the Klingon Empire and the United Federation of Planets. And at the heart of that delicate diplomacy is none other than Spock. The Vulcan's role as a mediator between two long-warring civilizations was believable and poignant, but also raised an unspoken question. Why would the Klingons ever trust Spock? Thanks to Star Trek, Strange New Worlds, that question finally has an answer. The original films never quite explained how Spock, a prominent Starfleet officer and a half-human outsider, became the trusted architect of peace. In Star Trek VI, Chancellor Gorkin entrusts Spock with the future of his people, an act of faith that carries enormous weight given the Klingons' proud warrior culture and deep distrust of the Federation. But with Strange New Worlds delving into Spock's early years aboard the Enterprise under Captain Pike, viewers now see how those seeds of trust were planted decades earlier through action, sacrifice, and something the Klingons uniquely respect: honor. Spock's Klingon cred was forged in battle. One of the most important elements in Klingon culture is honor in battle. In Strange New World Season 2, the episode Under the Cloak of War shows a younger Spock forced into direct confrontation with Klingons during a tense diplomatic standoff. What starts as a mission of peace descends into violence, and Spock, uncharacteristically emotional and assertive, holds the line to protect both Starfleet and innocent civilians. It's in this crucible of conflict that Spock proves himself, not just as a logical Vulcan, but as a warrior who fights with control and conviction. To the Klingons, this wasn't just impressive, it was admirable. The episode includes a moment when a Klingon commander, rather than dismissing Spock as a cold bureaucrat, acknowledges his bravery and tactical acumen. That rare recognition from a Klingon warrior leader subtly foreshadows how Spock's personal reputation begins to transcend political lines. He understood the Klingons on their terms. What makes Spock so compelling and such an effective diplomat is that he never seeks to change others. Instead, he strives to understand them deeply and authentically. In Strange New Worlds, Spock displays not only knowledge of Klingon language and customs, but also a rare empathy for their worldview. He understands that Klingons don't value peace because it's safer. They must see peace as something that enhances their honor. This understanding comes to the forefront in several episodes, where Spock advocates for respecting Klingon traditions during missions, even when it creates tension with his human crewmates. In one early season interaction, Spock insists on a ceremonial exchange with a Klingon emissary that avoids conflict but honors their customs. It's a small gesture, but one that sticks. These choices give Spock a cultural credibility that no other Starfleet officer could claim. When the time came for a Klingon chancellor to gamble on peace in the undiscovered country, choosing Spock wasn't a blind leap of faith. It was a logical choice based on reputation earned. Spock was the bridge between worlds, literally. What Strange New Worlds reveals beautifully is that Spock is not just half human and half Vulcan. He is also a bridge between opposing philosophies. This duality resonates deeply in interstellar politics. The Klingons, despite their militaristic society, are not without nuance. They admire strength, but also wisdom. And they see in Spock someone who embodies both. Spock's willingness to embrace complexity is shown repeatedly throughout Strange New Worlds. Whether grappling with his human emotions or navigating diplomatic minefields, he resists simple answers. And for people like the Klingons, who revere layered stories of struggle and triumph, Spock's life story becomes a sort of living legend. They may not always like him, but they respect him. This respect makes Spock a figure of stability when the Klingon Empire begins to unravel after the Praxis explosion. In Star Trek VI, when Gorkin chooses Spock as a partner in peace, he's choosing someone with cultural resonance, not just in the Federation, but in the Empire as well. Pike's influence, and why that matters. Another critical aspect Strange New Worlds adds is Captain Christopher Pike's leadership. Pike's version of Starfleet diplomacy is more nuanced and patient than Kirk's, which allows young Spock to observe and internalize a different way of navigating conflict. Pike's own attempts to engage with the Klingons, highlighted in early missions, set a tone of mutual respect rather than unchecked aggression.